Amane Fujimiya was the kind of guy who thought life was just him, his messy room, and a few Johnny Sins videos to brighten up lonely nights. A true lone wolf, friendless, until fate decided to put a damper on his forever alone lifestyle. Everything changed when, in a moment of chivalry, or pity, he saved Mihiru Shiina, the depressed neighbor who looked like she'd stepped out of a 2000s emo music video. And now? It seems she's fallen for him, bringing a sparkle that not even the best Wi-Fi could provide. The story begins when Amane, returning from school, sees Mihiru sitting in the rain, looking like she'd lost the Oscar for Best Smile. He considers ignoring her, but his soft heart gets the better of him. With his $5 umbrella, he approaches, covers the girl, and hands her the umbrella with a "Don't catch a cold, okay?" A true soap opera heartthrob. The next day at school, Amane is sneezing like an influencer allergic to criticism. Then, Mihiru walks into class, and the whole class swoons over her aura, like Megan Fox in Transformers, but with a Japanese angel twist. Amane, still sniffling, thinks, "This girl is perfect in every way. She can't possibly be the rain emo." He knows every guy in school is drooling over her, but he, the self-proclaimed Sigma Ted, doesn't care about chasing her. After all, he prides himself on being the guy who doesn't fall for a pretty face's flattery. Later, dragging himself home like a zombie, Amane finds Mihiru waiting at his door with the umbrella. She says she just came to return it, but can't resist blurting out, "Wow, you look like you fought with the shower and lost." Amane, trying to maintain her composure, tells her to mind her own business, but Mihiru retorts, "I was worried after you played the hero in a wet cape." He takes the umbrella back, but mid-conversation, he nearly collapses with a fever. Mihiru, with the reflexes of a romantic comedy heroine, catches him before it turns into a scene from Titanic. She insists she owes him a favor, and bursts into the chaos of Amane's apartment. A mess that would make even a hurricane excuse itself. Mihiru, with a look of, "How does anyone live like this?" tells him to change his clothes while promising to be back soon. Amane, confused, asks why she would go back to that pigsty, and she blurts out with a smirk, "I want to help you sleep better." Pause for malicious laughter from the American audience. She runs to her apartment, which, surprise, is right next door, leaving Amane looking like she just discovered her neighbor is Beyoncé. That night, Amane wakes up to find Mihiru watching. Him like the nurse of his dreams. She tells him he passed out for 2 hours and asks if he's hungry, because look, she made rice porridge worthy of MasterChef. Amane, still groggy, discovers that the angel-like girl is also good in the kitchen. When he lifts his shirt to check his temperature, Mihiru turns away in panic, blushing brighter than a tomato in a Mexican soap opera. That's when Amane understands why the guys at school are always drooling. She's cute even when she's trying not to look. Mihiru hands him the porridge and asks about his fever. Amane, trying to play tough, says, "Nothing a few pills and a good nap can't fix." But Mihiru, with that teacherly demeanor, lectures him on the importance of taking care of one's health. When he finally tastes the food, he's stunned by her talent. She teases, "What? Did you think I was going to feed you by mouth like a baby?" Amane, still in shock, compliments the porridge, and Mihiru shrugs. "Even a one-armed guy could do that. But seriously, you need to learn how to cook and clean this mess you call home." Then Amane broaches the sensitive topic. "Why were you standing in the rain, looking like you missed the latest episode of Stranger Things, dumped by like 4 guys?" Mihiru, indignant, clarifies that she doesn't have a boyfriend and that her standards aren't as low as his Wi-Fi signal. Amane jokes that she must have a line of suitors, but this irritates her. "I'm not a public restroom, okay?" He apologizes, and she confesses that she just wanted to clear her head that day. Amane, surprisingly sensible, says he won't use her guilt to try anything, unlike the other guys at school. This catches Mihiru off guard, and she admits she gets tired of being the center of attention. Amane blurts out, "Good to know, even angels have bad days." Mihiru, with a pout, asks him to stop calling her that. The next day at school, Amani's friend Itsuki is relieved to see him healthy and tells him to pull it together, man. As they walk, Amani sees Mahiru helping classmates with math, shining as always, and thinks, how can this girl be so perfect and so human at the same time? Amane's friend Itsuki doesn't miss the opportunity to rub it in his face that Mahiru, Shina is like a unicorn, beautiful, perfect, and completely out of the ordinary, or rather, out of reach for a guy like him. That night, Amani is on his apartment balcony, indulging in a jelly that looks sadder than an episode of This Is This. Us! Mahiru, with his bad diet radar, appears and scolds him. Seriously, Amani? Is this dinner or astronaut rations? Before he can defend himself, she bursts into his apartment like a reality TV chef, telling him to wait while she returns with real food. Leftovers that, let's face it, taste like they came from a 5-star. Restaurant Amane, her mouth full, thanks him and cracks a joke. This food is so good, it tastes like it was made by an angel. Mahiru, already tired of the nickname, rolls her eyes. Stop with the angel talk, or I'll make you eat those wings. He devours it all, thinking his stomach has never been happier. The next morning, he returns the clean plate, and Mahiru, surprised by his decency, delivers another plate of food. Amane tries to protest. Are you trying to spoil me until I become your dependent? She insists she always makes too much food, and he, half joking, warns, look, if you keep this up, I'll end up falling in love with this seasoning. Or with you. Mahiru, with a really look on her face, asks if he's serious. Amane, cold as an iceberg, replies, no. Bam. She closes the door in his face, leaving the air colder than a Chicago winter. From then on, Mahiru becomes the fairy godmother of Amane's diet. Goodbye. Fast food that wreaked more havoc than a hurricane on the intestines. Hello, nutritious meals that would make any nutritionist applaud. At school, Amane asks Itsuki if he looks healthier, and his friend, with that mocking look in his eyes, says, man, you finally don't look like you stepped out of The Walking Dead. Mahiru scores. One afternoon, while grocery shopping, Amane bumps into Mahiru, literally. He quickly explains, calm down, I'm not stalking you, okay? Mahiru rolls his eyes. Relax, Don Juan. I know this is the closest grocery store to home. He notices how careful she is with her budget, choosing products as if she were a NASA accountant. He compliments her. Wow, you manage your parents' allowance better than I manage my own life. But the comment hits a nerve, and Mahiru lets out a sad look, leaving Amane confused, as if she'd lost the conversation. After shopping, Amane offers to carry her bags, insisting, let me help. It'll give you some extra points in the charm department. Mahiru resists, but gives in, and he leads the way, muttering, better if we walk separately, or they'll think we're a couple from a margarine commercial. Later, when she stops by his apartment to pick up the plate, she finds Amane struggling with the mess in his room, which looks more like a post-apocalyptic dump. He admits he has no idea what he's doing, and Mahiru, with the energy of a personal organizer, takes over with a crash course in Adulthood 101. Together, they declare war on the filth in a cleanup worthy of an action movie. In the middle of cleaning, Mahiru slips, the blame for Amane's messy floor, and he holds her in a position that looks like something out of a romantic comedy poster. She scolds him. Your apartment is a biohazard, you know. Amane apologizes, and they continue, but Mahiru feels her heart racing as if she's running a marathon. After transforming the pigsty into something habitable, exhausted, Amane suggests ordering a pizza. Mahiru, who apparently grew up in a family more upscale than Buckingham Palace, is fascinated by the idea of pizza delivery. While eating, she mutters, "Stop staring at me." Amane retorts, "Relax, you're completely unattractive with tomato sauce on your chin." But seriously, he confesses that he prefers this laid-back version of her to the perfect Mahiru from school. She admits she's always been like this on the inside, and Amane, with a smile, says, "You can relax with me? I won't judge you." Mahiru, blushing, replies, "Difficult when your eyes are tearing me apart." Before leaving, Amane asks why she insists on feeding him every day. Mahiru explains that she enjoys cooking for others, and that it makes her happy knowing he's eating something decent, not the garbage he used to eat. She adds, "You don't drool over me like the other guys, and that's refreshing." Amane, a little awkward, assumes this means she doesn't care about him. Days later, Amane finds Mahiru standing alone, looking like she's up to something. He asks, "What's up? Are you planning to invade Narnia?" She laughs, but he notices her, clothes covered in fur and scratches. "Are you playing Tiger Hugger?" Mahiru confesses she tried to rescue a cat from a tree, and, well, it didn't go so well. Amane, playing the reluctant hero, tells her to stay put and returns with a first aid kit worthy of a movie paramedic. He asks her to take off her tights, to treat her knee, and Mahiru, suspicious, asks, "Are you crazy or did you forget your medicine?" Amane tosses her his jacket, assuring her it's no trick. "I just don't want your knee turning into a party balloon." As she straightens up, he turns his back, proving he's a gentleman, or at least he tries to. He bandages her ankle with surprising skill, and Mahiru murmurs, "Okay, maybe you're not completely useless." Amane accepts the compliment as if she'd won an Oscar. To top it off, he gives her a baggy sweatshirt to disguise her celebrity identity as he walks her home, like the world's clumsiest secret agent. While driving Mahiru home, she apologizes for the inconvenience, but Amane, playing the B-movie heartthrob, dismisses her. "Relax, I am a gentleman. Saving damsels is my cardio." Upon arrival, Amane rushes to the apartment as if he's seen a ghost, while Mahiru realizes she's still wearing his sweatshirt. A look that screams, "I stole it from my crush's closet." The next day at school, Amane shows up in shorts, making Itsuki raise an eyebrow as if he's seen a unicorn. "Dude, are you wearing shorts in the middle of autumn?" Amane tells him to shut up, muttering that he forgot his sweatshirt with Mahiru. Meanwhile, Kadawaki, the popular guy who looks like he's straight out of a shampoo commercial, struts around getting the Prince treatment. Amane, unimpressed, thinks the school specializes in exaggerated nicknames like Angel for Mahiru and Prince for Kadawaki. Suddenly, across the courtyard, Mahiru locks eyes with Amane and flashes a smile that makes his heart leap like a teenager. At a pop star concert. He looks away, embarrassed, but the other guys swear the smile was meant for them. Poor things, dreaming big. Later, Mahiru shows up at Amane's apartment to return the sweatshirt and brings a peace offering. More home-cooked food. He asks how she's doing, and she replies, "I'm fine, but I'm not running the São Silvestre anytime soon." Amane teases, "That smile of yours in the courtyard was brighter than a lighthouse. I'm almost calling you Angel again." Mahiru rolls her eyes. "Stop it, or I'll make you eat that nickname." Curious, she asks why the crowd nearly fainted at her smile. Amane, with a mischievous grin, compliments. "You're like the Beyoncé of school. What do you expect? I'm even wondering if you're eyeing Kadawaki." Mahiru, indignant, retorts, "No way. And if beauty were enough, you'd already be on your knees for me." Amane is speechless, as if she'd been hit by a Hadouken combo. She acknowledges that she's aware of her own charm. "Guys treat me like a golden statue," and that she takes good care of herself. Amane checks the food and asks if she made it. Mahiru tells him to heat it up in the microwave, but Amon, with the look of a frustrated chef, says, "I prefer something fresh, you know," in a tone that leaves room for interpretation. Mahiru, suspicious, asks, "Are you trying to break into my apartment to do something weird?" Amane swears she's innocent, and they make a deal. They'll cook together in his apartment, splitting the bill, just so he can have fresh food. He checks to see if she feels safe, and Mahiru, with a dangerous smile, warns, "If you try anything, I'll mash your eggs and turn you into pickles." She teases, "Besides, I'm not your type. If I were, you'd already be polishing my feet." Amane, at a loss for an argument, just shakes her head. When Mahiru arrives, he notices that Amane's kitchen is cleaner than a NASA lab, probably the only decent part of the apartment. She takes charge, ordering him to stay out of the way. I don't want you messing with my cooking mojo. As she cooks, Amani watches her, thinking she looks like the perfect wife from an appliance commercial. Mahiru catches him red-handed. What? Are you trying to see through my apron? Amani retorts, you're the one who thinks you're the Gisele Bündchen of the kitchen. When the food is ready, Amani attacks it as if it were the last dish on earth, praising, this is better than anything my mouth has ever tasted. Since breast milk, Mahiru nearly chokes on the joke. He asks why she insists on feeding a guy she supposedly doesn't like. She shrugs, I like cooking, and it's good karma to feed bums like you. Amane, laughing, begs her not to stop. The next day. After a brutal test at school, Itsuki complains that the exam was more unfair than a reality show. Amane teases, that's what you get for dating instead of studying. Itsuki retorts, wait until you fall in love. You'll become a worse doormat than me. Chitose, Itsuki's girlfriend, appears and asks if Amane has a girlfriend because she'd love to make friends. Amane playfully replies, my imaginary girlfriend doesn't like competition. Later at the apartment, Mahiru thanks Amane for washing the dishes. He asks what she's working on, and she says casually, I'm self-evaluating. Amane, curious, asks about her progress, and Mahiru boasts, humbly, I've already mastered next year's curriculum. He asks if she likes studying, and she confesses that it's mostly out of obligation. Amane admits that she studies to avoid drama with her parents. Before Mahiru leaves, she drops her ID card. Amane quickly returns it, but notices that her birthday is in 4 days and keeps the information as if it were a state secret. While they cook later, he asks covertly, if I were to give you a gift, what would you want? Mahiru hesitantly replies, a whetstone. Amane, looking like he's seen an alien, asks, are you normal? Mahiru laughs, you're lucky I'm not like other girls, otherwise I'd already be asking you for diamonds. The next day, Amane, desperate for gift ideas, asks Itsuki for help, but all the suggestions seem like they're straight out of a $1.99 store catalog or completely unfeasible. Frustrated, he postpones the decision until Chitose steps in. With the energy of a talk show host, she bombards Amane with questions about the mysterious girl, but he dodges more than a driver fleeing a traffic stop. Chitose suggests a teddy bear, and Amane scoffs. What? Do I look like the protagonist of a cheap romantic comedy? Chitose calls him a coward, but Amane, deep down, thinks the teddy bear is a good idea. To avoid the embarrassment of buying something so cute alone, he begs her for help, and Chitose agrees, as long as he gets crepes in the process. Amane, having no choice, agrees immediately. On Mahiru's birthday, Amane summons the courage, delivers the gifts, and wishes her a happy birthday, as if she were a superhero facing the final boss. Mahiru, somewhat embarrassed, asks, how do you know it's my birthday? Amane confesses he saw it on her ID card, and she grumbles, I should have ignored it. I never celebrated my birthdays. Still, he insists, delivering the gifts as a thank you for everything. The first is hand cream, and he explains, you use those hands all day, so I thought you needed some extra TLC. Mahiru thanks him with a small smile. But the second gift, a teddy bear, makes Amane blush. If you don't like it, throw it away. Mahiru, hugging the bear as if it were a national treasure, assures her, I'll keep it forever. Amane is mesmerized by her holding the teddy bear, almost giving in to the urge to fall in love, but composes himself before becoming a walking cliché. Suddenly, Mahiru confesses that he's never received gifts like this because he never shares his birthday. Gifts from strangers make me nervous, she says. Amane asks, what about mine? She smiles. You're not a stranger. He has a crazy urge to ruffle her hair, but resists, knowing he's one step away from becoming the protagonist of a romantic anime. Days later, Amane's peace is shattered by the arrival of Shihoko, her mother, who storms in with a smile she knows will cause a stir. You look much more presentable than last time, she says. Amane, with the enthusiasm of a cat taking a bath, reluctantly thanks her and politely suggests she get lost. Shihoko ignores him, demanding that he at least pretend to be happy to see her after she traveled all this way. With a sigh, Amane repeats his thanks, a little less grumpy, but insists, "Go away." Undeterred, Shihoko tries to barge into the apartment, as if she owned the place, but Amane becomes a human wall. Until she plays the fatal card. Who pays the rent, huh? Checkmate. Amane relents, and Shihoko enters, snooping around with the energy of a reality TV detective. She notices the clean room, Amane's glowing skin, and 2 sets of dishes. A faint perfume in the air? "Cooking for 2, are you?" she teases. Amane, trying to remain calm, mumbles something about a friend, but when Shihoko tries to peek into the room, he jumps in front of her as if protecting a treasure. "I don't want you to see my Mia Khalifa DVD collection," he invents. Suspicious, Shihoko forces her way in and finds Mahiru asleep in the room, in a twist worthy of a soap opera. Shihoko lights up like a Las Vegas sign. "You have good taste." Huh. Amane denies everything, swearing nothing's going on, but Shihoko counters with the classic, "Girls don't sleep in a guy's room if they don't like him." As Amane panics, Mahiru wakes up, and Shihoko, wasting no time, introduces herself as her future mother-in-law. Amane tries to protest, but it's like trying to stop a train. Mahiru tries to explain, citing Amane's addiction to fast food, but Shihoko is already planning her wedding and grandchildren. Upon discovering that Mahiru lives next door, she declares, "It's fate! My little boy found the perfect woman!" And, to make matters worse, blurts out, "He's still a virgin, you know. You can make the first move, honey." Amane, red as a bell, tells her to leave. Shihoko gives a fake apology for ruining their romantic evening, and before leaving, steals Mahiru's number. Alone, Amane apologizes for the chaos that is her mother, but Mahiru, with a melancholic tone, says, "You're lucky to have someone who cares so much." She reveals that not even her parents call her by her first name. They decide to use each other's names, but only in private, like an anime secret. When Mahiru tries to return the key that Amane, in a panic, gave her, he insists, "Keep it, I trust you." Mahiru teases, "You're opening the door to an anime romance, you know?" Amane, with a smirk, accepts the challenge. The next day, Mahiru, as expected, tops the test rankings. Amane overhears girls commenting that she's different, but knowing. Her human side thinks, she just works twice as hard as everyone else. Later, Mahiru finds a cake in Amane's fridge and asks, "Are you hiding a baking side?" He shrugs, "It's to celebrate your perfect score." Mahiru downplays it, but Amane insists, "You're too humble for your own good." As she cuts the cake, Amane doesn't look at the cake, but at her, thinking she's sweeter than any dessert. Mahiru, thinking he's looking at the cake, offers a bite, leaving Amane with a goofy smile, like she's about to confess her love. Amane confesses he was looking at Mahiru, not the cake, with a look that says, "You're sweeter than any dessert." Blushing, she shoves a piece of cake into his mouth. "Eat it now before I change my mind." Amane reciprocates, offering her a piece with a mischievous smile. "What's it like to be spoiled like this?" Mahiru, trying to maintain her composure, mutters, "Unbearable." Amane teases, "Be careful. Feeding someone like that might give you ideas." The atmosphere heats up even more than the bakery oven. Sometime later, Amane decides to venture into the kitchen on a solo mission, but everything he does reminds him of Mahiru's divine cooking. He tells her his plan, and she offers to help with the enthusiasm of someone betting on a lame horse. Amane confidently explains his masterful dish, but the result tastes more like sewage water than haute cuisine. Nervously, he offers a spoonful to Mahiru, who tries it and, with a forced smile, says, "It tastes like the crushed dreams of an aspiring chef." Even so, she praises his effort and lets him try her version of the dish, which of course is a culinary knockout. Mahiru says it's good he learns to cook, asking, "And when you finally master the kitchen?" Amane, with a mischievous smile, replies, "I hope I never learn. That way you'll always have a reason to show up." Mahiru's heart races as if she's just run a marathon, and she murmurs, "I'll teach you little by little then." Weeks later, Itsuki and Chitose hatch a plan to have a Christmas Eve date at Amane's apartment. He tries to shut down the idea, but Chitose teases, "What? Does your imaginary girlfriend have other plans?" Amane firmly says he's single, but Chitose mentions the teddy bear, and he changes the subject. "It was just a gift for the neighbor who's saving my house from collapse." After bullying and pleading, Amane relents but warns, "You guys leave before dark, okay?" Later, he asks Mahiru if she has any plans for Christmas. She says her friends are busy with boyfriends and that she's turned down a dozen invitations from desperate guys. Amane tells her that her friends will be breaking into the apartment on Christmas Eve, and Mahiru, with a somewhat sad look, says she'll spend it alone, as usual. Sensing the loneliness, Amane invites her to spend Christmas with him, and she accepts on the condition that he teach her how to play video games, something she's always wanted to try. Amane, surprised, agrees immediately. On Christmas Eve, the party is in full swing. Itsuki looks around Amane's apartment and blurts out, "Man, it's less depressing than a morgue right now." Chitose, sniffing something, comments, "It has a feminine touch, huh?" Amane goes into crisis mode, trying to deflect, but Chitose insists, "Get a life, man!" She blurts out that Mahiru rejected all the guys at Christmas for other plans, leaving Amane suspicious. Suddenly, it starts snowing, and Itsuki and Chitose run to the balcony to enjoy the moment. There, they find Mahiru alone, quiet and beautiful under the snow, like a scene from a Christmas movie. At Amane's apartment, Mahiru apologizes for revealing their secret, but Amane, the king of calm, says, "Relax, it wasn't your fault." To clarify, Mahiru explains that he's only helping Amane not self-destruct like a faulty toaster. Itsuki, ever the provocateur, asks, "So, Amane, is something going on with Mahiru? Have you heard wedding bells?" They both immediately deny it, saying, "It's easier for a pig to fly." Itsuki notices the teddy bear and asks if it's for Mahiru. Amane, blushing, tells him to shut up before he gets kicked. He scolds his friends to keep their mouths shut, and Chitose swears, "No one would believe a hottie like Mahiru is after a clumsy guy like you." Then, Chitose finally sees Mahiru up close and nearly short-circuits, enchanted. "My God, you're like a goddess!" She leans in as if to kiss her, but Amane blocks her. "Calm down, don't smother the shy girl." Chitose apologizes, saying she was hypnotized by the divine beauty. She and Itsuki officially introduce themselves, and Itsuki, posing as a best friend, warns Mahiru, "If Amane crosses the line, let me know and I'll punch him." Mahiru laughs. Besides the tragic mess, he's actually quite calm. Chitose confesses that she loves cooking, but that recipes aren't her strong suit. After the couple leaves, Amane apologizes for Chitose, suggesting that Mahiru give her a slap if she freaks out again. They exchange jokes about the snow, and Mahiru goes to get some stew. While she's gone, Amane reflects on the hectic evening, wondering how Mahiru brought a spark to his chaos. During dinner, Mahiru watches Amane eating and comments, "You seem genuinely happy with the food in front of you." And Amane, with a goofy smile, thinks that true happiness is sitting across the table. Amane smiles and says, "Your food is so good, it would make a grown man cry more than at the end of Titanic." While washing the dishes, he asks how Mahiru learned to cook so well. She replies with a twinkle in her eye, "Someone told me the way to a man's heart is through his stomach." Amane praises the mysterious mentor, but Mahiru confesses she still doesn't hold a candle to the one who taught her. He retorts, "Your cooking makes me so happy. My stomach is thinking about proposing to you." Mahiru, melting like butter in the microwave, is speechless. He asks about her Christmas plans, and she, with a smirk, reminds him, "We have a date with your video games, remember?" The next day, the gaming session begins, and Mahiru is so bad she looks like she's never seen a controller in her life. Amane, trying to teach her a few tricks, ends up getting too close, and the air becomes more charged than a poorly connected USB cable. He apologizes immediately, but Mahiru, with a slight blush, says, "It's okay, we're not strangers anymore." Little by little, she gets the hang of it and has so much fun that all Amane can think about is how cute she is, like a baby panda playing Super Mario. Suddenly, Mahiru trips and falls right into his lap, in a moment worthy of a romantic comedy. Amane, poor thing, feels his soul leave his body, debating whether to laugh or cry. Mahiru, red as a traffic light, apologizes as if she'd knocked over the Eiffel Tower. He smiles. "You look adorable, you know that." Panicked, she starts punching his arm, yelling, "Stop it!" Later, Mahiru wins a match, and Amane cheers, as if she'd won the World Cup. As a reward, he gives her a gift. Mahiru protests, "No more gifts." But Amane insists, "Pretend it's from Santa, Claus." She opens it and finds a stylish keychain, perfect for the key she's been carrying. Impressed, she says, "That's fancier than I expected from you." Then she surprises him. Shihoko, Amane's mother, sent him an old photo of him. Amane, shocked, tries to change the subject, but Mahiru brushes back his bangs and blurts out, "You were really cute, you know?" He blushes bright red, reciprocates by pushing her hair back, and the atmosphere becomes so intense it feels like a scene from an anime with a romantic soundtrack. Mahiru breaks the silence with a surprise gift, a new scarf. Amane, brimming with confidence, compliments, "Your smile is brighter than a Las Vegas sign, and I'm loving it." Mahiru, embarrassed, yells, "Shut up, I need to breathe," and runs off. Redder than a tomato, Amane follows her, worried, "Don't catch a cold." Mahiru, turning, retorts, "You're the one who needs to worry about colds." Before going to sleep, he thanks her. "You brought so much color into my life." Mahiru, with a shy smile, thanks her back. The next morning, Amane notices her face is flushed. "Are you okay?" he asks. Mahiru insists that she is, but he, suspicious, takes her temperature and confirms. Fever. "Time to rest," he decrees, picking her up to take her home. Mahiru stops, him at the door. "No boys in my apartment." Amane calmly offers her his apartment to rest. After some discussion, she gives in. There, she eats, takes medicine, and thanks him for taking care of her. Amane responds, "You did the same for me, but why do you try so hard?" Mahiru, with a distant look, remains silent, leaving the question hanging like an anime cliffhanger. Mahiru, her eyes shining, tells Amane, "You were never a burden." As he starts to leave, she takes his hand and whispers, "A good night, so soft it sounds like a lullaby." Amane, holding her hand back, notices her nervousness and jokes, "Calm down, I'm just helping you sleep well." The atmosphere heats up like a campfire. The next morning, he asks if she's better. Mahiru insists she's almost fine, and Amane offers to make him some porridge. After eating, they sit together, and she confesses, "No one has ever taken care of me like this." Apologizing for being a burden again, Amane cuts him off. "Stop it. I can't stand to see you suffering." He takes her hand again, wondering what it would be like if they stopped feigning indifference, while his heart plays a drum solo. It's New Year's, and Amane and Mahiru are together, getting sentimental about continuing whatever this quasi-romance is into next year. Checking their phones, Amane sees messages from Itsuki and Shihoko, teasing him about his cozy moments with Mahiru. Then Shuto, his father, texts asking if they can visit soon. Amane agrees, but when he turns to tell Mahiru, she's passed, out on his shoulder, exhausted from cooking for New Year's. He tries to wake her, but she only cuddles closer, smelling so good that Amane almost forgets how to breathe. After some internal debate, he decides to be the gentleman and carries her to bed, gently stroking her cheek as he whispers, "Good night." The next morning, Mahiru is still asleep, and Amane, mesmerized, thinks she's cuter than a husky puppy. He strokes her face, and surprised, she wakes, enjoying the softness of his hands. But then she gets a fright, and Amane, laughing, swears, "I didn't do anything scandalous, relax! You should thank me for not playing Diddy." Mahiru with a smirk teases, "Okay, but is rubbing cheeks your secret fetish?" She reveals that she was awake while he covered her, and Amane, blushing, warns, "Don't joke like that. It's dangerous. For a guy with hormones." Half-jokingly, he asks, "Do you want me to make a move?" Mahiru, blushing so hard he looks like a traffic light, hides his face. Soon after, Amane's parents arrive. He greets Shuto like a normal human being, but pretends Shihoko is invisible. She scolds him. "Respect is a two-way street, you know." Amane retorts in kind. Then he notices a suspicious box, and Shihoko says it's just a few things. She runs to greet Mahiru, and Shuto, calmer, thanks Mahiru for taking care of Amane. Mahiru replies, "It's mutual." Shihoko, the queen of jabs, calls Amane a useless bum, but Mahiru defends him. He's been very attentive. Shuto, smiling, tells Mahiru not to let Amane overstep his bounds. Mahiru serves tea, earning praise for her good manners. Shihoko, of course, teases, "It's nice to see my son with such a pretty girl." Shuto tells her to tone it down, but confesses, "That way about her is what made me fall in love." Shihoko, blushing, is embarrassed. Who knew? Then Shihoko mentions the New Year's shrine visit. Since Amane and Mahiru haven't been yet, she reveals she brought a kimono for Mahiru and insists they all go together. Amane protests, afraid of running into classmates, but Shihoko shrugs. "Don't get caught, okay?" Before leaving, Amane checks his appearance in the mirror, and Shuto compliments him. "Are you happy to move here?" Amane, thinking about his dark past, admits, "Compared to before, I'm much happier." He looks at Mahiru, and his heart skips a beat, knowing she's a big part of that.